Tonight, a grooming gang is jailed. They gave illegal drugs to vulnerable women as young as 16 years old, who were then raped and sexually exploited. Also making the headlines, Scotland's housing emergency. Another warning, plans to build more homes aren't happening fast enough, deepening inequality. And in sport, after Hearts stretch their lead to the top of the Premiership to 8 points, we ask if they can win the league.
A lot of people are saying yes, a lot of people are saying no. I'm in the middle, I'm not sure yet.
We'll beat everybody that we think would challenge us.
I'm Kellyanne Woodland. This is the STV News at 6. Good evening. A Romanian grooming gang that preyed on vulnerable women, subjecting them to a catalogue of sexual abuse and exploitation, have been jailed. Each member of the gang, made up of 4 men and 1 woman, has been sentenced to between 8 and 24 years. The abuse happened in Dundee in 2021 and 2022. The judge praised the victims for their courage and bravery. Lynn Rankin reports.
They targeted, trafficked and trapped 10 vulnerable women in a life of drugs and desperation. At squalid flats across Dundee, the Romanian gang plied their victims, aged between 16 and 30, with drink and drugs.
It was clear that they were trying to groom the females, and there was certainly evidence that one had been moved into prostitution and was being advertised on the website as a prostitute. And I think that would have been the end goal for the others as well, to make the crime group money. And they've done that through coercion, through grooming, through getting them addicted to Class A drugs.
Ringleader Marian Cumpănășoniu, known as Mario, was found guilty of running brothels, raping multiple women and forcing 1 woman into prostitution, taking a portion of her earnings. Described in court as a smirking, winking pimp, he was sentenced to 20 years. Cristian Urleatanu received 18 years. Remus Stan was jailed for 12 years. Catalan Dobre was handed a 10-year term, while Alexandra Begonia was given 8 years. Judge Lord Scott said that much of the gang deflected, minimised, denied and lied about their offending. He praised the women's courage and bravery that brought the gang to justice.
The women were careful, credible and convincing. Your victims are now survivors, albeit no doubt permanently damaged by what you did to them. By offering them an apparently unending supply of mostly free crack cocaine, you exacerbated their vulnerabilities and then proceeded to exploit them for your own sexual gratification and whims, and in some cases for financial gain.
After 2 of the gang were arrested at a flat in Lochee, the others fled the country. They were later traced in Belgium and the Czech Republic and extradited back to Scotland. The gang were told they will likely be deported on their release from prison, a decision that will lie with the Home Office. But tonight they're beginning a total of 68 years behind bars, while the women they abused continue to rebuild their lives. Lynn Rankin, STV News.
Homelessness organisations are piling pressure on political parties to commit to building thousands of affordable homes every year. They launched a joint manifesto at their annual conference this morning, but the Scottish Government has admitted it will not meet their demand for 15,000 homes every year. Ministers have committed to more than £1 million additional funding to tackle homelessness. Our political correspondent Ewan Petrie reports.
When he was younger, Shay spent around 6 months rough sleeping before moving to supported accommodation for 2.5 years. He now ensures those with lived experience help shape policies to tackle homelessness.
We need a commitment to building more houses on a significant level. We're talking 15,000 more social homes per year over the course of several years. We can't just be doing it in dribs and drabs. I want them to commit to locking in the rights that we have at the moment. I know there is pressure coming from multiple angles that because rights cannot be met in so many areas that we should perhaps start rolling those back. We need to dedicate ourselves to the fact that that is not going to be an option. Those discussions are not even on the table.
Charities warn Scotland's housing emergency is a plan gone wrong, driving homelessness and deepening inequality.
This isn't a problem that will go away, so we need to tackle it now. It is the right thing to do. And so there's no clever magic bullet that we can pull out of the sky that says this is the other solution. We fundamentally need to build more homes. With that, we need the right support. We need to secure the funding for services, all of those other elements. But we can't hide away from this challenge. We've got to tackle it now.
It's almost 18 months since the Scottish Government declared a national housing emergency. Now, dozens of organisations are joining forces here in Perth to say labels are not enough. They're demanding urgent action and for housing justice to be central to next year's Holyrood election.
We do have a strong record in Scotland of having delivered affordable homes.
The Housing Secretary addressed the annual homelessness conference this morning. She promised an additional £1.6 million to tackle the issue, reduce poverty and support women who've experienced domestic abuse. But she also admitted ministers would not meet the demand to build 15,000 affordable homes each year to stop homelessness rising.
We are not in a position just now to commit to delivering that many homes in a year. We don't have the capacity in construction and on a number of fronts.
When do you think you'll be able to deliver those kind of numbers?
Well, our commitment is 110,000 affordable homes by 2032, and getting to the delivery of that is my objective, and the work I'm doing now, some years prior to 2032, is about building the capacity to ensure it can happen.
The housing charity Shelter Scotland, which came up with the 15,000 figure, says the next Scottish Government must make a long-term commitment to reduce homelessness, rather than just manage it. Ewan Petrie, STV News.
More than 2,000 Scottish jobs are at risk after one of the largest North Sea oil firms filed for administration. Petrofac, which has its UK headquarters in Aberdeen, made the decision after it lost a major contract with the Dutch grid operator last week. The company says its business will operate as normal. A man's died in a light aircraft crash near Kinross. It happened this afternoon at the National Gliding Centre's airfield at Scotland Well. The 81-year-old pilot was pronounced dead at the scene. The Air Accidents Investigation Branch has been informed. Now, Scotland's first emergency naloxone cabinet has gone live with the hope it can save lives and break the stigma around drug overdoses. It's based on Larkhall High Street, and the organisations behind it want to see them become part of more of our towns and cities, much like emergency defibrillators. Ollie Dickinson has been to see it.
This yellow box on a high street in South Lanarkshire might not look like much, but it's a huge step in preventing drug-related deaths. You might think it's a defibrillator, but actually this cabinet contains naloxone, a drug that can stop people dying from overdoses.
We have kind of resources like the Naloxone unit and the base to run in the lab bulb, making a massive impact, especially for people who are never kind of at risk of having an opioid overdose. It's not the kind of box, then gives people the opportunity if somebody has an opioid overdose and they're unable to access the naloxone, you can kind of get the next oil through the box and administer and save somebody's life.
Anyone can access the cabinet using the What 3 words to be given the code to unlock it. It's hoped that having a visible presence on the street will normalise using the drug in an emergency.
It's extremely important. I think it's extremely important in terms of it's a life-saving measure. It's a basic first aid. So I look at this box as a first aid kit that's for people who are using substances and who have a right to, as we would say, a right to life. So it's so important for us.
At this recovery event in Coatbridge, people with experience of addiction are learning how to use naloxone.
Then you would administer a naloxone
Becky is in recovery and says it's vital everyone learns how to administer the drug.
It's no different from finding somebody who's collapsed because of a heart attack. Nobody would think twice about administering first aid. You might not know that individual personally, but it'll be your neighbour, it'll be somebody's son, brother, cousin, daughter, sister. You know, these are people from our community.
It's hoped that more cabinets like these will be rolled out across the country, and in turn, more lives can be saved. Ollie Dickinson, STV News, Larkhall.
Glasgow Central Mosque has been sprayed with racist graffiti which says Scots first. A spokesperson for the mosque says they're deeply upset and that acts like this do not represent the values of Glasgow or Scotland. Police Scotland says inquiries are ongoing into reports of vandalism. The body of a former US Navy diver who fell from a ferry travelling from Gourock to Dunoon has been found 4 months after his disappearance. A major search was launched when Mark Federspiel went overboard in June on the Western Ferries vessel. Police say they found his body at Kilcreggan Beach earlier this month. Now, the world's tallest cinema on Glasgow's Renfrew Street is set to undergo a major makeover. The building's new owners, the Irish cinema chain Omniplex, have announced extensive renovations to upgrade the auditoriums and sound system. It comes months after Cineworld was evicted from the building. Meanwhile, Scotland's movie makers of the future could include pupils in Stevenston who are studying film and screen. Auchenharvey Academy is the first school with an accredited film and screen teacher following the national rollout into the Scottish curriculum by Screen Scotland and Education Scotland. Raheem Cham reports.
And action.
Shh,
be quiet.
An early eye-opener into the many roles behind the big TV screens.
Which of these film roles you would like to try?
This 45-minute Friday class helps pupils form their own film crews to shoot, direct and produce original content.
I've been learning how to film, how to be a director and different types of what you can make a movie with. I like filming sometimes during our classes, but I also like doing acting.
I'm really enjoying it, the way you can take different screenshots, different angles in certain bits.
I think because of how good I am at it and that I'm really good.
The classroom is transformed into a production office, led by Scotland's first accredited film and screen teacher.
So the students are really enjoying taking part in film and screen. They're trying out all the different roles. So 1 week they'll be the camera operator, the next week they might be editing. They're finding out about what the casting director does, what a location manager does. So we're just trying to make it as realistic as possible so that they can start to think about jobs that they possibly wouldn't have considered if they hadn't had film and screen in the classroom.
I would like to pick makeup artist because I can...
Developed and tested by Screen Scotland, the new curriculum is designed for students aged 3 to 18, helping them understand how the industry works and recognise they can be part of it too.
The film and screen curriculum is very much an introduction to the art of filmmaking. We look at storytelling and narrative. We look at, most importantly, the practical aspects of it, the technical aspects of it, how you can light something, shoot something to make the storytelling as effective as it possibly can be.
The rollout has already won backing from some of Scotland's biggest creative names.
To be able to learn about the huge amount of different jobs that go into telling a story on screen is also of immense value.
As a young person, you want to get out there, you want to meet people, you want to see a bit of the world. And it's one incredible way to do that.
It should definitely be an egalitarian subject because everyone has a story to tell.
It's so important because it lets you know and it lets all kids know that this is a career path. There are lots of ways in which you can get into the industry.
When I grow up, I want to be a camera operator.
And with more of these mock-up productions, it might not be long before these budding filmmakers step into the real film sets. Raheem Cham, STV News, Stevenson.
All right, let's get your sport now from Rahman and Hearts. Going from strength to strength.
Sure are, Kellyanne. Big win against Celtic yesterday. You know, it's been 40 years since a team out with Celtic or Rangers won the top flight. Many are now asking the question, could Hearts be that team to win it this season?
Your window to sport.
C.R. Smith sponsors STV Sport.
Good evening. Derek McInnes believes the best is yet to come from his table-topping Hearts side after defeating Celtic to move 8 points clear of the defending champions. Brendan Rodgers insists it's no time to panic and says there are plenty of games left to make up the points difference. Here's Ronnie Charters.
Relentless, ruthless, rampant. The Hearts juggernaut swooping Celtic aside with Tynecastle in full bloom. The boys in maroon stretching their lead at the top of the table.
We never had the game way up there the way it's been talked about. We just had the game as a game that was a chance to win, and we've seen the importance of it. And I thought the players dealt with the game really well, and it's what I expected was how they dealt with the game. The outcomes, so obviously you can't control the outcome, but I thought we got the deserved outcome today.
Hearts started like a train and struck first when Celtic's Dane Murray turned the ball into his own net. The champions would hit back soon after though through Callum McGregor, but in the second half Hearts kicked on. First through one of their summer stars, Alexandros Kizaridis, and then within minutes another huge error by Dane Murray, penalty Hearts, Lauren Shankland stepping up from the spot. A 3-1 victory, and for Kizaridis, a week he'll never forget.
Hard week, to be honest, but it was by far the best week of my life. As I post also on Wednesday on 23, my son is arrived already. Yeah, I'm so happy, man. You can imagine.
But for Celtic, the alarm bells keep ringing. Another abject display with pressure mounting on the shoulders of Brendan Rodgers.
I think the context of today is obviously disappointing in the game and the result. But there's 29 games left. Our issues have been well documented, but we're working very, very hard with limited time to work on the field to find the solutions.
The only guys that can fix it is the guys on the pitch. Yes, I understand we're under a difficult moment, but the only people who are coming to save you is yourself. So we can't be looking for, right, who's going to take the baton off you. We have to fix it.
For Derek McInnes and Hearts, however, this is just the beginning.
I think there's still improvement in us, to be honest. I do think there's a bit more in us. We've got one or two things lined up for January, and but at the minute we've got 2 months of football ahead of that, and we just need to keep the fight as well to keep improving, Peter. I think we need to as clear as day, we need to keep improving.
Ronnie Charters, STV Sport.
Well, this is how the Premiership table looks after almost a quarter of the campaign in. Hearts with an 8-point advantage over Celtic. Derek McInnes' side remain the only team in the top flight and across the 4 divisions who are unbeaten. And here are their next 2 fixtures. On Wednesday night, the league leaders are away to St Mirren. On the same night, Celtic are at home to Falkirk. This weekend, Hearts host Dundee in the Premiership, while Brendan Rodgers' side face Rangers in the League Cup. So a chance for McInnes' men to put more pressure on Celtic. We asked some Hearts fans if they believe their team can win the league.
We'll beat everybody that we think would challenge us.
So you think you can go on and win the title?
Yes. Well, a gooder chance as anybody.
A lot of my family are Celtic fans, so being able to hold that over them is a little bit better.
Can you go on and win the title?
That's a really early question to ask. A lot of people are saying yes, a lot of people are saying no. I'm in the middle, I'm not sure yet.
Last time was back in the days of George Burley and we were really hopeful, so I think we learnt our lessons then, not to count your chickens too early in the season. Fingers crossed we can keep it going.
I mean, it was definitely fun to watch for sure. I've never seen Hearts at such a high level before.
It's very nice, very nice. But unfortunately I was at 1986 and 2005 and all the others. It always sort of breaks off come the end of the season. But we'll just have to wait and see.
Well, a couple of supporters there made reference to the 2005-2006 season when under manager George Burley, Hearts won their first 8 league games. Robbie Nielsen was part of that team. I spoke to him earlier and began by asking what he's made of this team's start to the campaign.
Yeah, I think it's been phenomenal. I think that obviously with the new ownership coming in with Tony Bloom, everyone expected an upturn in results, but probably not to this extent so quickly. So really exciting.
You've talked about Tony Bloom's investment, but in addition to that, why do you think Hearts have started the way they have?
Well, I think they already had quite a bit of experience within the team. Guys that have been there around the block, and obviously getting Derek McInnes in as well, who's got massive experience and is a top manager. It kind of brought everything together. So although the new guys coming in that they've signed over the closed season have really upped the level, I think also the guys that were there already, like your Palkits and your Shanklands, guys like that have really kicked on.
How big a win was that yesterday, Robbie, and do you think that's a statement win?
I think it was, yeah. I think going to Ibrox earlier in the season and getting the 2-0 was a big statement as well. To win the league, I think you have to go to Glasgow and win, and they've managed to do that so far. Then when the Old Firm come to town, you have to turn them over, and they've managed to do it again. So, they're ticking all the boxes at the moment.
Do you see similarities to this team, to the team of 2005?
Yeah, I think obviously that year we think we won the first 8 games of the season. I'm not sure, consistency-wise, we didn't really have a huge squad. I think the squad that Hearts have got at the moment is probably bigger, with a bit more depth within it. So I think they've probably got a real good chance this year. And the question will be, in the January window, can they keep a hold of the players that potentially there'll be people looking at, but secondly, then can they go and strengthen again? So yes, there is comparisons, but I think this squad's got a bit more depth about it.
And just how important is that then, Robbie, to keep hold of the players and then go further in the transfer window?
Yeah, it's very, very important, Ramon, to be honest with you. You're going to get injuries throughout the course of the season, and that's historically always been the problem for teams out with the Old Firm, is that when they get 2 or 3 injuries in key positions, they don't have the strength in the background to fill those spaces. So I look at Hearts squad at the moment, and I think they've almost got 2 top players for every position, so they're covered in that area. Now it's just that consistency.
Big question then, Robbie, do you think Hearts can go all the way?
I really hope they do. I think it's great for Scottish football. Do I think they can do it? Yeah, I think if they invest again in the January window, which I would expect the ownership to do, then I think they've got a real chance this time.
In other football news, Danny Rose says he was pleased to win his first league match as Rangers head coach, but now wants to see his team take the next step against Hibs on Wednesday night. Derek Cornelius put Rangers 1-up against Kilmarnock in the 15th minute yesterday before George Stanger equalised on a mistake from Jack Butland to make it 1-1 early in the second half. Danilo restored Rangers' advantage. That's the striker's second goal of the season. Then, with less than 20 minutes remaining, substitute Yusuf Chermeti scored his first goal for the club to make sure of the points. Well, following back-to-back wins, Hibs boss David Gray says his side now have a bit of momentum ahead of the visit of Rangers. Gray's side defeated Aberdeen 2-1 at Pittodrie yesterday with Thibaut Klidja and Eli Yuhan on the score sheet. The Dons scored in the 90th minute to reduce the deficit by 1.
Rangers at home is always a difficult game, but a brilliant game to be involved in. Fans will be there, full house will get right behind us off the back of 2 very good performances, 2 very good results. And all we can keep doing is trying to catch the team in front of us right now, which is Celtic. I don't know how many points it is now, but that is something that we're moving towards. You want to try and look after yourself. Don't worry about nothing gets won or lost really in whatever we are, October. Long way to go, and we've still got a lot of improvement to come.
Tennis, and Cameron Norrie will face Carlos Alcaraz in the second round of the Paris Masters. Norrie set up the showdown with the world number 1 after defeating Sebastian Baez in straight sets. Jacob Fairnley is out after losing his first round match to 12-seed Andrei Rublev in straight sets. To rugby, and the Scotland squad had their first training session today ahead of their opening autumn international against the USA this weekend. Gregor Townsend has included 3 young cap players, Lee McConnell, Harry Morris and Alexander Masibaka. The Scots host America, New Zealand, Argentina and Tonga at Murrayfield. And finally, if you want to know more about what's happening in Scottish football with a bit of entertainment, be sure to watch and listen to the STV Radio Football Show with the first podcast out today. Here's a flavour.
Tony Bloom, the guy is our Wizard of Oz. Well, no, that's not the right.
That's terrible. That's terrible. Really bad.
That's not
really bad.
He was a fraud. The Wizard of Oz was a fraud.
He's our Wizard of Oz.
No, that's wrong. Can we edit that out?
No, we can't. That's staying in, folks.
No.
Your window to sport. C.R. Smith sponsors STV Sport.
Sure, the lads will remind June of that boo-boo at every opportunity, and quite right so. That's all the sport for me tonight, folks. See you again tomorrow.
Indeed. All right. Thanks very much, Raman. OK, well, let's get your weather now from Philip. And this time of year does sometimes bring lovely sunrises, and yesterday was a gorgeous one.
Yes, Kellyanne. Well, for those of us who were up early enough, despite the clock change, we were offered a spectacular sunrise yesterday. And throughout this month, we've seen some lovely sunrises and sunsets. Here are a few of them. On top of all these golden hours, yesterday night also offered a chance of spotting the northern lights. And for the lucky few, like Jamie, provided quite the spectacle. Tonight, the chance of the aurora is smaller just because we have a bit more cloud around. The rest of this week is feeling autumnal, but for the wrong reasons. Let's take a look at the forecast.
A breezy morning will be followed up with a flurry of fresh delights for lunch. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
Well, tomorrow we will see our next area of low pressure drifting in from the Atlantic. It sits directly on top of us come Wednesday, keeping things pretty cloudy, changeable and unsettled before drifting off to the northeast. Thursday looks set to be our best day of the week weather-wise before this deep area of low pressure moves in Thursday night into Friday, giving us a very wet and windy Halloween. Back to just now, though, as we head into the overnight period, our wind direction has changed to more of an easterly to southeasterly. So western coastal parts starting to see the winds picking up strength. Gusts of around 40 to 50 miles per hour. That will also blow through the central belt. We've also got a band of rain moving north and northeastwards overnight. So with the wind, the rain and the cloud, temperatures not dropping too far. Lows for most towns and cities of around 8 or 9 degrees Celsius. Looking ahead to tomorrow, throughout the morning, the winds will gradually start to ease and we'll start to see some drier and brighter spells increasing throughout the course of the afternoon, but also some further scattered, isolated showers moving eastwards. Temperature-wise, in the best of any brightness, reaching highs of around 11 or 12 degrees Celsius. Not as much sunshine as what we've seen today, but feeling pleasantly mild in any brighter spells. Looking ahead to Wednesday, we've got low pressure centre directly on top of us, like I said, so a widely cloudy day to come. Some scattered showers moving in from the southwest, merging into longer spells of rain with highs of around 10. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
And finally, Scotland's bidding a fond farewell to a ferry that served island communities for almost 40 years. The MV Hebridean Isles was built and launched at Cochrane's Shipbuilders in Yorkshire in 1985, before spending years crossing the Little Minch on the Uig Triangle and then serving Islay and Colonsay. The vessel was eventually retired last November due to the high costs of repairs. She's now left Scottish shores for the final time on her way to the Breakers Yard in Denmark. But some spare parts will be used on Calmac ferries for years to come. So she will live on. Well, that's all we have time for this evening, but we're back again tomorrow. From all of us here on the team, enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.